The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did. I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dreams.
She is literally smiling at her kids not being able to live their American dreams. What kind of monster are you? Junior Senator Katie Britt was tapped to give the Republican response to the State of the Union, and let's just say it went badly. Now, there have been some bad ones before.
Than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight.
Good evening and happy Mardi Gras.
I'm a proud Democrat, but first and foremost, I'm a proud Republican and Democrat and mostly American.
But I have never ever seen anything like this. You cannot tell me this isn't AI. And why is she dressed like Serena Joy from Handmaid's Tale? Before you answer, you know what? Listen to her speak.
Good evening, America. My name is Katie Britt.
Wait, is she in a kitchen?
And I have the honor of serving the people of the great state of Alabama.
That's your move to attract women, is to put them in the kitchen? She is the youngest woman in the Senate, in case you were wondering how representative she is of the group, and you let them talk you into going from the kitchen?
And I have the honor of serving the people of the great state of Alabama.
And does that say Alabama? You mean the same Alabama that restricted all women's reproductive freedoms, including IVF, and then fast-track rescinded it so you can say you did something last night? That's about as slick as convincing the youngest senator to talk women out of voting in their best interest from the kitchen.
In the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids. My daughter Bennett and my son Ridgway are why I ran for the Senate. I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation.
Yeah, you can tell how worried she is by the cheese smile on her face. Who built this AI program?
I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home tonight. Like so many families across America, my husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. And what we saw was the performance of a permanent politician.
Well, we need to bring back that performance because I don't know what the hell this is.
Who has actually been in office for longer than I've been alive. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch. Under his administration, families are worse off, our communities are less safe, and our country is less secure.
Is she delivering a speech or testifying on SVU?
I just wish he understood what real families are facing around kitchen tables just like this one. You know, this is where our family has tough conversations.
Those conversations must last forever. Spit it out, lady.
It's where we make hard decisions. It's where we share the good, the bad, and the ugly of our days. It's where we laugh together, and it's where we hold each other's hands and pray for God's guidance.
Huh?
And many nights, to be honest, it's where Wesley and I worry. I know we're not alone. And so tonight, the American family needs to have a tough conversation because the truth is, we're all worried about the future of our nation.
Huh?
The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did. I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dreams.
She is literally smiling at her kids not being able to live their American dreams. What kind of monster are you?
My American dream allowed me, the daughter of 2 small business owners from rural Enterprise, Alabama, to be elected to the United States Senate at the age of 40. Growing up, sweeping the floor at my dad's hardware store and cleaning the bathroom at my mom's dance studio, I never could have imagined what my story would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation, in just one lifetime, it's truly breathtaking.
How is it for you watching this? Are you enjoying this? I'm trying to connect with you. Is it working?
I never could have imagined what my story would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation, in just one lifetime, it's truly breathtaking. But right now, the American dream has turned into a nightmare for so many families. The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this.
She went from happy to sad to outraged in 30 seconds.
I traveled to the Del Rio sector of Texas. That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been trafficked by the cartels.
All right, I think we get where this is going. You could just cut that off.
Starting at the age of 12. She told me not just that she was every day, but how many times a day she was.
I think we get it.
The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room, and they sent men through that door over and over again for hours and hours on end.
So you want us to vote for the man with convictions? Is that what you're getting at?
From fentanyl poisonings to horrific murders, there are empty chairs tonight at kitchen tables just like this one because of President Biden's senseless border policies.
There are also empty chairs because of, COVID. Want to talk about that?
And the enemies of freedom, they see an opportunity. Putin's brutal aggression in Europe has put our allies on the brink.
Oh, the same Putin that Trump said to do whatever the hell they want to any NATO country that doesn't pay enough? You know what? Hey, this AI program acting up. Yeah, she just going off on her own. We need to reprogram.
Every generation has been called to do hard things. American greatness rests in the fact that we always answer that call. It's who we are. Never forget, we are steeped in the blood of patriots who overthrew the most powerful empire in the world. We walk in the footsteps of pioneers who tamed the wild.
Now she just sounds like a child's audiobook. Let me tell you the story of Paddington and the War of Allied Resistance.
We now carry forward the same flame of freedom as the liberators of an oppressed Europe. We continue to draw courage from those who bent the moral arc of the universe.
And the creepy smile is back.
And when we gaze upon the heavens, never forget that our DNA contains the same ingenuity that put man on the moon.
Did she just say DNA? She thinks she's real. This is like Pinocchio 2024.
Our future starts around kitchen tables just like this, with moms and dads just like you. And you are why I believe with every fiber of my being that despite the current state of our union, our best days are still ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless these United States of America.
Cut, that's a wrap. Now, when do we send this to the Hallmark Channel? The alternative to another 4 years of Trump is having Mr. Burns from The Simpsons running the country. Welcome to Water Under the Bridge with me, Reese Waters, where I grade the last 30 some odd days we just had in hopes I can foster and promote gratitude when the times were good, but also give you a place to commiserate our collective garbage experience when they're not. Don't forget to like and share the video to give me your score in the comments below. And also, if you have any personal moments of triumph or misery, I'll take those under advisement as well. Let's get to April, and I'm sorry, can we finally talk about how Congressman and fictional resume author George Santos is still employed by all of us? He started his first week in office facing a formal ethics complaint from the Federal Election Commission for bogus claims he made while he was still running for office. Now, Santos, a Republican, has admitted to lying about his education, his work experience, even his faith. The Republican DA of Nassau County said she's looking into if any of these fabrications amounted to crimes, and federal prosecutors are looking into Santos's financial disclosures. That's right, investigate everything. I don't even believe this man's name is George Santos. Don't be surprised if we find out it's really something like Hector McFraud-Shyster, and this is his Better Call Saul alias. George Santos appears to be the least honest person in Congress. And that's hard to do. He should start writing a memoir because his days in Congress sound numbered, right? He can't stay there all year. From legislature to lockup, the George Santos story, I can see it now. And I would expect him to take some creative liberties because we all know he's good at that. No way he makes it to the end of the year, right? Speaking of which, President Joe Biden announced in April that he was launching his campaign for re-election. No rest for the weary or for octogenarians. Biden is already the oldest president in history, and that's saying something since almost all of them have been old. If Biden wins and serves a full term, he'll be almost 90 years old. So the alternative to another 4 years of Trump is having Mr. Burns from The Simpsons running the country. You know what? I'm going to need some younger candidates to emerge because I can't take too many more out-of-touch Methuselahs in the Oval Office. Former Governor of Arkansas Asa Hutchinson announced his intention to run for president of the United States in 2024. He also urged former President Donald Trump to step aside from the race. Good luck with that. Both of that's. Nobody wants a president named Asa. That doesn't sound powerful. It sounds incomplete. Actually, his first name is William, so why not go with that? See, that already shows that he has poor judgment. Another sign of poor judgment, Asa's still hanging in the race despite having no chance whatsoever at winning. He just keeps showing up, knowing he's about to lose. At this point, he is the Washington Wizards of the presidential race, the candidate you only watch because you actually came to see who he's up against. Now, Asa Hutchinson was the governor of Arkansas from 2015 to 2022, and the only people that know that live in the state of Arkansas. He's also served in the United States House of Representatives, but you know what? I'm not calling this dude Asa. His mama named him Willie. I'ma call him Willie. All right. As Disney World closed its Splash Mountain ride, people have taken to eBay and attempted to sell water allegedly from the ride, and the asking prices went all the way to $200. You know what they say about a fool and their money? In this case, these fools are probably racist. Splash Mountain is going away because it's based on the film Song of the South, which has so many racial stereotypes and tropes that Disney doesn't even want to sell it anymore. But bigotry has folks ready to zippity-doo-dah, $200 for 6 ounces of dirty amusement park water. That is, if it's even water from the park. They could be spending their hard-earned money on tap water, and I love that. You know what? As a matter of fact, I got a half-eaten Egg McMuffin that once belonged to Stonewall Jackson, and it's yours for the low, low price of $10,000. And I thought the people complaining about woke M&Ms were bad. At least they're not trying to buy baggies of Jim Crow holy water on eBay. Now, speaking of government chaos, Republicans in the Tennessee House of Representatives voted to expel 2 Democrats, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, over their rule-breaking peaceful protest. The idea was short-sighted as council members voted to restore both Jones and Pearson back to their offices, and they've both since been sworn back in. Now, expelling them was a petty move to begin with. I'm glad it backfired and blew up in their faces like an Acme product in the Roadrunner cartoon. Their spiteful vote made Jefferson and Pearson famous across the country. I had no idea who either of them was until they got expelled for political and evidently racial reasons. The Tennessee GOP created martyrs, but worse, martyrs that are still alive and showing up back to work with them each day. That's awkward. Imagine if Judas had to work right next to Jesus after selling him out. Like, hey man, I didn't think they was really gonna crucify you, Jesus. Come on, brother, you're supposed to forgive. I will send a salute to Justin Jones and Justin Pearson for standing up for what's right. Karma rewarded them while smacking those backwoods who tried to get rid of them right in the face. Like, well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. I love to see it. Also, it appears that Justin is a very, very popular name in the state of Tennessee. Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, Justin Timberlake. I'm just saying. Evidently, Tennessee really likes naming their kids Justin. Also in April, the Supreme Court voted to protect access to abortion pills by overturning the rulings of the lower court that placed restrictions on their usage. So, hooray for birth control. As a result of the verdict, the United States added the Drug Administration's approval of the drug mifepristone, and the subsequent actions that made the pills more easily accessible will in fact remain in place. Now, I don't know if the Supreme Court did this for the right reason, because women should have bodily autonomy, or for the dusty one, because they don't think everybody's fit to raise babies. But whatever the case, it's a win. If I were arguing the case on behalf of birth control, I'd make the justices just sit through 3 straight episodes of paternity court. I guarantee they'll leave there thinking, we gotta help stop these idiots from procreating. So pro-lifers and Nick Cannon, I guess, is back to the drawing board for y'all. April also gave us a verdict in the Gwyneth Paltrow ski trial. This one wasn't as wild as the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, but it was weird and over the top in its own right. And I also love that celebrity trials are a whole genre now. OJ's slow cruise from police so that Gwyneth Paltrow could fly. Well, at least nobody died here, and now she can devote the rest of her days to finding the real skier, or whatever it is that OJ is actually doing, and start appearing on the Mason Cameron podcast. Also in April, fighting broke out in Sudan while I was visiting Egypt. SpaceX's Starship rocket, the largest and most powerful rocket ever built, exploded 4 minutes after launch, but it was still more successful than Elon Musk's stewardship of Twitter. And fighting broke out in Sudan while I was visiting Egypt. You have any idea how terrifying that was? I'm just saying, there gotta be some medals lying around on Capitol Hill somewhere for me making it back on that luxury flight. Now, sadly, April meant the world lost a giant in Harry Belafonte, singer, actor, and civil rights activist. Harry Belafonte was the epitome of living right, time after time putting his career and safety in jeopardy to pave the way for people like me to pursue life, liberty, and YouTube. He'll be greatly missed. April, you get a solid B-. You could have been warmer, but most of your drama was political and petty. Plus, I can't give a lower grade to a month that encompasses Easter, Earth Day, and Ramadan without endangering my soul. Actually, no, wait a minute. I just remembered I survived that thing in Egypt. A. April, you get an A.
I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down.
I'm about to give a gender-neutral, racially indifferent take.
What did you say, nigga?
Welcome to Racist of the Week, where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. and also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Our first nominee, America. I just wanted to watch basketball. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to watch a college basketball game last weekend between Iowa and LSU. And on the other side, I wanted to watch UConn and USC. I enjoy basketball. I enjoy women's basketball. I enjoy the NCAA tournament. I just wanted to watch basketball. I did not want to participate in the newest edition of the proxy war between the MAGAs and whatever they're calling the other side. They call them the woke or whatever, which is nothing anybody on the other side would ever use, okay? I didn't want to participate in none of that. I just wanted to watch basketball. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I was conflicted the first time these two teams played. When Iowa played LSU in the championship last year, I was conflicted. Why? Because Iowa had just beat South Carolina. My mother's from South Carolina. I root for the South Carolina Gamecocks. I root for both Carolinas, but I root for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And you know how grim it is to root for South Carolina? I mean, when you think of the South Carolina Mount Rushmore of sports is like Dawn Staley, Jadeveon Clowney's hit on Michigan that caused the fumble.
Wow. Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do.
George Rogers Heisman and like an inter-platoon scrimmage during the Battle of Fort Sumter. Okay, that's how bad and grim it is rooting for South Carolina. Here they are going for an undefeated season and they get tripped up by Iowa. And you know how you feel when your team gets tripped up by the other team. You just want nothing but the worst things. I want nothing but the bad things in life to happen to you and only you. I was frustrated. So I was not feeling Iowa at all. At the same token, I didn't necessarily want LSU, who is their SEC rival, to be the beneficiaries of South Carolina getting taken out. I was conflicted the first time. This time, a year later, the landscape has somewhat changed. All of a sudden, LSU is evil incarnate, and Iowa is everything that's right about basketball and about college and about the world. One of the other reasons I was conflicted about this game is even though I wanted Iowa to get their comeuppance after some notable trash talk after the South Carolina game, which we'll get to later, LSU is coached by Kim Mulkey. Yes, Kim Mulkey. The same woman who refused to vouch or send love and prayers or even acknowledge in any way Brittany Griner when she was stuck in a Russian prison. That same Brittany Griner who brought her multiple national titles, who is the best player she's ever coached. She couldn't even parse her lips to say the name Brittany Griner in public while she was stuck in a Russian prison. This is the same Kim Mulkey who defended the SA and Title IX scandal that shook Baylor and took down their football coach, Art Briles. Oh, so you mean to tell me the women's basketball coach is out here putting on a cape for SA going on campus, saying, quote, if somebody's around you and they ever say, I'll never send my daughter to Baylor, you knock them right in the face.
If somebody's around you and they ever say, I will never send my daughter to Baylor, you knock them right in the face.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want to respond to women feeling unsafe on campus, is threaten violence. This is the same woman who dismissed questions from Outsports about the acceptance of gay players on the team while she was at Baylor, saying, quote, don't ask me that. I don't ask that. I don't think it's anybody's business. Whoever you are, I don't care to know that. It was a month later that Brittany Griner confirmed the team's don't ask, don't tell policy, a culture of silence that kept her in the closet in the public eye until after graduating Baylor in 2013. Says Kelly Griffin, who played for Mulkey from 2007 to 2010, Kim Mulkey is an amazing coach. The reason I went to Baylor is because of her, but she made my life hell, drawing attention to Griffin's clothes and issuing a suspension that ultimately ended her career, and she believes it started after Mulkey found out that she was gay. So yes, this is the person who's coaching the team that I'm supposedly rooting for. I would also find it very suspicious that this is the woman that's coaching the supposedly woke team. Don't really sound like a particularly woke coach, now does it? On the other side of things, you have Iowa, who is, as much as they've been adopted by the worst possible fans on the timeline, have done absolutely nothing, at least as far as I could tell, in order to curry favor with this particular group. This isn't a Nikki Haley situation where she's sending out little nods and winks and dog signals.
What do you want me to say about slavery? Next question.
They just go about their business and play their games, and this is who ends up backing them for whatever reason. I can't actually blame them for that. Of course, it affects the context in which they play, but it's not necessarily their fault. Now, how did we get to a point where LSU is everything wrong with the world and Iowa represents everything good? They wear the white hat, so to speak, and believe me, I'll get to that one in a second. Well, this all started because of the double standard last year when everybody lost their minds after Angel Reese bragged and trash talked Caitlin Clark to her face after they won the championship. The timeline was filled with fans just calling her everything but a child of God, but not bothering to research the fact that Caitlin Clark had in fact talked a lot of this very same trash, which makes me think actually South Carolina is the most aggrieved in this situation because we've created this dichotomy between LSU and Iowa, despite the fact that South Carolina has been the best team in women's basketball for a couple years now and are waiting to be crowned. Why do they get ignored all the time? South Carolina just continues to be Michael from Good Times. You gotta ask yourself, what exactly was it that made LSU so evil? What makes the LSU Tigers so evil? I just gave them a rundown of their coach, which is straight out of the MAGA How to Lead Children handbook.
Are you kidding me? It ain't gonna work, buddy.
Is it that they talk trash? We just already went through the fact that Iowa also talks trash. Is it the exposure? Because I don't think anybody gets more exposure than Caitlin Clark and Iowa on this particular year. I mean, I can't wait to see how many documentaries they got coming out at the end of the season, whether they win or lose. So what exactly is it about this LSU team that makes them so evil, huh? You have any ideas? Let's just imagine what the perception would be if the roles were reversed. If LSU and Angel Reese were white and Caitlin Clark were black, and they won the championship, do you know what the perception of Angel Reese would be? This is the star who doesn't care about her statistics. 17 points and 20 rebounds, leading her team. She doesn't care to be in all the commercials. She's not all in the video.
They want to be an artist and want to stay a star, and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing.
As Suge Knight once said about P. Diddy, that actually aged quite well. But do you understand the lionization that would have awaited Angel Reese for her leading her team, despite just doing all the dirty work, for her team to win a championship, defeating the singular talent of Caitlin Clark? Because we see it all the time. I mean, there is a whole cottage industry in rooting against the most talented. Y'all love to root against the most talented when they black. Let me tell you about the random hate that LeBron has gotten since 2003. People just rooting against him for what? Because he's good. Because he's young, talented, and black. That's exactly why. And that is exactly the treatment that Caitlin Clark would have got if the situation was reversed. Now, when you ask yourself, why does Caitlin Clark get so much attention? I mean, a lot of people have talked about this on the timeline. Well, what is it about Caitlin Clark where she gets so much attention? There's NIL, which allows her to appear in commercials. There are more games that are available now that we have streaming services. There's social media where you can get highlights buzzed to your phone.
It's almost hard to comprehend, honestly. You know, I'm just grateful that, you know, we were a part of it more than anything. But I think it just shows, you know, if you put us on the platform, that we're going to deliver, and how exciting our game really can be.
And of course, there's her style of play, which is very telegenic. She's an incredible player, but she also plays on the perimeter, and it's much more visually appealing. There are multiple reasons why she gets so much attention, and also because she's white. I mean, really, like that's also, are we gonna lie about it? Are we gonna lie about it? Are we gonna lie about it? We gonna act like her being white has nothing to do with any of this? Okay, all right. If you want to lie about it, here is where the truth was left out for all the world to see. Apparently, you have some fans that either don't know how Google works or don't care and understand that they could get their particular tribe all up in arms about something that they couldn't bother to look up. So people use the fact that LSU was not on the court during the national anthem to be some kind of indictment of the team, to be some kind of indictment of the players, to be some kind of indictment of the culture of Louisiana State University basketball. Again, this is the team coached by Kim Mulkey, who apparently left the court because they were too woke. It later became apparent that they were never actually on the floor during the national anthem because that's just how their schedule worked.
Honestly, I don't even know when the anthem was played. We kind of have a routine where we are on the floor, and then they come off at the 12-minute mark.
That's when the anthem.
We just, I don't know, and we come in and we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry, listen, that's nothing intentionally done.
But Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, a noted Trump ally, called for student athletes who don't stand for the anthem to lose their scholarships. This is what he said, quote, "My mother coached women's high school basketball during the height of desegregation. No one has a greater respect for the sport than for Kim Mulkey. However, above respect for the game is a deeper respect for those that serve to protect and unite us under one flag." What does desegregation have to do with this? I'm just saying, what does desegregation have to do with this? Unless you were talking about your mother coaching high school basketball and having to deal with black players and how they handle the anthem. The assumption being the reason LSU wasn't out there for the anthem had something to do with the players and their particular political views. I would ask you how you managed to elect a man who couldn't bother to look up these things before he went and took to social media to post something. I mean, do you just nominate people for governor? That sounds like some DEI mess to me. He doesn't sound qualified. I can tell you that right now. This one I particularly enjoyed. Can somebody point me to the outrage when the 2019 LSU football team wasn't on the field for the national anthem before the national championship game, which Clemson wasn't out there either? I would also like to point you to the outrage, or lack thereof, to the anthem being sung by a group of hostages, which is a choir made up of criminals who assaulted police officers during January 6th.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
Yeah, because that's not disrespecting the anthem at all. That wouldn't be disrespecting the anthem at all. Now, in order to land the plane on this particular one, I decided to go to FS1's Emmanuel Acho because he is so thoughtful when it comes to all things race. Now, granted, there are a lot of people that are on my radar I haven't necessarily spoken about. It's kind of like when your mama used to look out the living room. Like, she wouldn't say nothing, but she looking, she paying attention. She's paying attention. So Emmanuel Acho, I've been seeing, I've been paying attention. I just haven't seen fit to go with a whole video addressing you yet. But in this particular instance, he decided to say, quote,
"I'm about to give a gender-neutral, racially indifferent take."
This in response to Angel Reese's post-game comments, where she revealed what the last year has been like for her.
I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and, like, not be there for them. So I just want them to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day, I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, you know, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are. Keep waking up every day. Keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
So you want to give a gender neutral and racially indifferent take. Exactly what was gender neutral and racially indifferent about the way that she's been handled? What is gender neutral and racially indifferent about the way America has made Angel Reese and LSU wear the black hat? What is racially indifferent and gender neutral about any of that? Your attempt to do so is just pure ignorance. Now, I will say this, because one of the other quotes he made is, in sports, you can't act like the big bad wolf and then cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
But I'm about to give a gender neutral, racially indifferent take. Angel Reese, you can't be the big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
If Angel Reese would have acted like a bad sport on the floor, if she would have left the court before the end of the game, if she would have not participated in the hand, she did all of that. She did all of that. On the floor, she gave you 17 and 20. She tried to lead her team. She tried to work herself back after she got injured. And then she handled the loss as graciously as she possibly could. All the other stuff is off the floor. And you tell me what's gender neutral and racially indifferent about any of that. Now, I will tell you that if I had a dog in this fight, it would be South Carolina. I personally think LSU talks a whole hell of a lot. Too much for me, quite frankly, but I'm not going to sit here and act like y'all would react the exact same if it was Iowa. Now, Acho had to respond to the dragging he received. He said, "Please know I always speak out on racial and gender bias. One of the few on TV to speak on it. I've also consistently publicly supported Angel Reese through it." Not consistently, because it sounds like consistently would be for you to acknowledge its place in this moment. So from Emmanuel Acho, FS1, to everybody who tweeted this nonsense about the anthem, to everybody who tweeted about this game, period, and had something to say and making it some sort of proxy war, congratulations, America. You are our racist of the week. You managed to ruin what should have been an incredible sports spectacle. By the way, if you have somebody you would like to nominate, leave it in the comments. You could email me at reese.waters@gmail.com. I have videos on Clarence Thomas coming up. I have a video on the attempts to name Dulles Airport after Donald Trump coming up. I got a whole lot, so I'm looking forward to all. Oh, and don't forget Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson's gonna get that work too. Be sure to subscribe to the page and make sure you get notified when the next video drops.
Now, to all my friends in the press and Fox News, some of you complain that I don't take enough of your questions. No comment. Of course, the New York Times issued a statement blasting me for, quote, active and effectively avoiding independent journalists. Hey, if that's what it takes to get the New York Times to say I'm active and effective, I'm for it. It's okay. I have higher standards I do interviews with strong, independent journalists who millions of people actually listen to, like Howard Stern. Look, being here is a reminder that folks think what's going on in Congress is political theater. That's not true. If Congress were theater, they'd have thrown out Lauren Boebert a long time ago. Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me. I had a great stretch since the State of the Union. Well, Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. What the hell?
There is an election. There's an election 6 extremely long months from now. So let me see if I can summarize where this race stands at this moment. The Republican candidate for president owes $500 million in fines for bank fraud and is currently spending his days farting himself awake during a porn star hush money trial, and the race is tied? The race is tied. Nothing makes sense anymore. The candidate, who is a famous New York City playboy, took abortion rights away, and the guy who's trying to give you your abortion rights back is an 80-year-old Catholic. How does that make sense? It's also wonderful to be back in Washington. I love being in Washington. The last time I was in D.C., I left my cocaine at the White House. Luckily, the president was able to put it to good use for his State of the Union. I'm kidding, of course. The president doesn't call it cocaine. He calls it high-speed rail. By the way, can you blame the guy for turning to cocaine? He must be exhausted, orchestrating 4 separate trials against his rival, rigging the Super Bowl, and gearing up to steal a second election. Wow. Biden laughed. I love, by the way, that Trump's 2 attacks on President Biden are that he's a senile old man and a criminal mastermind. I'm like, I think you gotta pick one.
Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Gaza!
Fox News is here tonight. It's the end of an era. Rupert Murdoch stepped down at Fox News, which is strange. I didn't think there was a step down from Fox News. Trump Media is here. Trump Media, not at a table, just screaming loudly in the corner to no one. Things are not bad for everyone, though. This may be the worst time in history to be a print journalist. It is the best time in history to be a courtroom sketch artist. My God, the most famous man on earth is on trial, and there's no cameras allowed. Just the artists, their pastels, and their desire to make Trump look as bad as possible. Every sketch of Trump looks like the Grinch had sex with the Lorax. We are all here tonight at Nerd Prom. Well, Matt Gaetz is at regular prom, but I actually thought I saw Matt Gaetz here tonight, but it was actually just my own reflection in a spoon. There are so many incredible individuals here tonight. Laura Trump is here tonight. Okay, I got one woo. She recently released a cover of the song I Won't Back Down. Upon hearing it, Tom Petty died again. I can't believe I'm saying this to a member of the Trump family, but maybe stick to politics? But the reason that I bring up my grandfather, and I don't know if you realize, Mr. President, but Staten Island firefighters are not normally your demographic. Staten Island voted about 70% for Trump in the last election, and the other 30% was for Giuliani. But Staten Island also sided with the British during the Revolutionary War. So we're not always on the right side of history. You remember.
I am a Holocaust survivor. I do not deserve applause. I am here because I experienced as a child every single thing that a child is experiencing on a daily basis, including the loss of my family, including war, firebombing, and you name it. It pleases me to no end to see that you are here. I take courage and inspiration from you to keep going. I'm 88 years old. I am a civil rights activist. When I came to America as an almost 17-year-old in New York City, I discovered America. I discovered the racism, and I became an activist against war, justice, and I'm here as a peace activist. We need to bring this to an end.
Should be 100% of the black people should vote for Trump, because I did more for black people than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. It's true.
Just wait till Lyndon B. Johnson see you. Former President Donald Trump's wrestling theatrics were on full display during a recent campaign rally in Rome, Georgia, thrown by our own Capitol Hill Karen. I covered the rest of the event in its own video. And when he mocked Biden's stutter.
I'm going to bring the country together. I'm going to bring it together.
But I'm here to talk about another recurring theme on the campaign trail, other than slurring, constantly comparing himself to Abraham Lincoln and touting how much he's done for black people. In this case, more than any other president other than Abraham Lincoln, who of course signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, what exactly has Trump done for black people?
I'm being indicted for you, the black population.
Apparently, he's being indicted for us. So there's that. You can't have any discussion around what Trump has done for black people without somebody yelling out, that's right, you heard it, criminal justice reform. Trump and criminal justice reform are the new can I kick it? Yes, you can, when he gets around us. And you ever find that a bit odd? I mean, there's other things he could point to, but that one always leads the way. I wonder why.
The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population.
Well, if you only think of black people as walking, talking criminals, then that's all you need, right? Not housing, not healthcare, definitely not police reform, because let's be honest, they're just gonna get themselves arrested again anyway. Help black people address the prisons. Well, in December of 2018, then President Trump did sign the First Step Act, a legislative measure heralded as making the most substantial changes in a generation to the tough on crime laws that had contributed to a 700% increase in the federal prison population since 1970. Thousands were released from federal prisons, benefiting from the law's good time credits designed to grant early release to well-behaved inmates. Additionally, hundreds have entered the elderly home confinement pilot program, allowing older federal inmates to serve the remainder of their terms in home confinement. Further still, thousands more inmates, 91% being black, had sentencing reductions due to the retroactive application of the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, a law passed during the Obama administration, which aimed to minimize sentencing disparities between crack and cocaine charges. However, the First Step Act was the result of years of congressional deliberation aimed at reducing the size of the federal prison population while ensuring public safety. The law essentially was a scaled down version of the Sentencing and Reform Corrections Act introduced in Congress in 2015 during Obama's term. Trump taking credit for Obama's work? No. And we all know that was a Congress that famously refused to work with Obama, and I wonder why. I mean, it's not like you would ever put the party over your country so you could take credit or anything.
Former President Trump has indicated to senators that he does not want us to solve the problem at the border. He wants to lay the blame of the border at Biden. And the idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics is a shocking development.
Trump consistently pops his collar for the lowest black and Hispanic unemployment rate in the history of our country.
Under President Trump, black families had record unemployment.
And the pre-pandemic black unemployment rate had indeed reached a historic low at 5.9% in May of 2018, continuing a decreasing trend in black unemployment that started under Obama. Further still, Biden had an even lower black unemployment rate than Trump and holds the current record. Then there are Trump's opportunity zones, which the first time I heard it sounded like Amsterdam from The Wire. The 2017 tax bill was said to encourage investment in disadvantaged communities. Yet a 2019 New York Times report reveals the program had primarily favored affluent investors instead of the community at large. The initial beneficiaries of the tax incentives are predominantly billionaires and members of the Trump family involved in projects like, quote, high-end apartment buildings and hotels, storage facilities with minimal employment, and student housing in vibrant college towns. In other words, gentrification. It sets up tax breaks to accelerate gentrification. I know gentrification when I see it. I grew up in DC. Unless that tax code included breaks for residents to afford to stay in those opportunity zones, you know exactly how that's gonna go. The worst trap house from the DC I grew up in is hosting a spin class right now. In fact, let me finish this video because I gotta head over there. Then there are the HBCUs, something I covered in my Tim Scott video. In 2019, Trump signed the Future Act that permanently provided $255 million in annual support for HBCUs that had lapsed after Congress didn't renew the funding. Biden made no changes to that commitment, and federal funding of HBCUs has increased every year under Biden to the tune of $2.7 billion in HBCU funding through the American Rescue Plan that was in addition to the annual funding increase. Furthermore, under Obama, the federal government invested more than $4 billion in HBCUs over 7 years. And that, my friends, is the case for Trump. I don't even have time to fully outline the case against Trump. That will have to be its own video. In fact, I should probably make that. But since you brought it up, household median income was higher for black people before Trump. His administration had low rates of black home ownership and low black male labor force participation rates, and his inaction in addressing the coronavirus pandemic ravaged black people all throughout 2020, exacerbating already existing inequities in our healthcare system. Then there was the fact that he bragged that 7 million people stopped receiving assistance through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, but didn't mention why, because they raised the requirements, which you can do when you resurrect that whole welfare queen trope from the Reagan era, which wasn't the only thing that he got from Reagan. And no, this is not about Nancy, although as somebody who grew up with the DARE program, that was quite the reveal. Trump reinstituted the Southern strategy to get elected, then kept pushing racist dog whistles throughout his presidency, culminating with the summer of 2020, where he met social unrest and calls for police reform, or at the very least, police oversight. You know, we would love if they would treat us like people, but we would settle for a couple of cameras and a supervisor. He met that with calls for law and order. Y'all remember that upside down Bible photo op? Yeah, that was great for black people. Pledging to make America great again, hearkening back to a time pre-integration, and providing a legislative home for overt white supremacists. Yeah, we really do love that. That was all good for black people. Meanwhile, because he did say more than every other president, Ulysses S. Grant created the Department of Justice and pushed for the prosecution of the Klan, behavior and attitudes that Trump at minimum enabled. Franklin Delano Roosevelt established the Fair Employment Practices Committee, and his Justice Department pushed for a repeal of the poll tax. Donald Trump pushed his to disqualify black votes. It was Detroit and Philadelphia, wasn't it? Oh, Georgia too, right? Yeah, you can't forget Atlanta. Harry Truman desegregated the military. Barack Obama passed the Affordable Care Act, which has reduced racial disparities in healthcare. JFK set civil rights legislation in motion. Then Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, and the Fair Housing Act, and desegregated hospitals in the South through the Social Security Act amendments of 1965. He even convinced J. Edgar Hoover, who I did a whole video about, by the way, to stop being racist for a minute and focus on the Klan, or as some of us call it, domestic terrorism, or as Trump calls them, very fine people, apparently. I get it, they vote too. But back to the civil rights legislation, which became the law of the land until a conservative Supreme Court started rolling back the gains of the civil rights era, which I know Trump sees as a major accomplishment. So to answer your question, no, Trump did not do more for black people than any president except for Lincoln. But I can say that he did more for black people than every president since Obama. That was actually pretty fun to research. And in fact, I think I want to put out a whole list. I'm gonna put out a whole list. The best and worst presidents for black people. Be on the lookout for both of those videos coming soon.
I'm going to bring the country together. I'm going to bring it together. That is no longer admired, respected, or listened to. Will we be doing? Look, he can't campaign. He can't campaign. Maduro, Venezuela, it's all compliments of. He must be cognitively impaired. I'm not cognitively. And you know what?
Wow. You really been mocking Biden a whole lot. Apparently, President Joe Biden's State of the Union address had Donald Trump shook. He's doing everything from tweeting about Jimmy Kimmel to taking credit for COVID vaccines. And I'll be honest, Don, you were right. It was the light inside the body.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way.
Oh, no, that's not it. It was the disinfectant.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
Apparently not satisfied, the former president had the unmitigated gall to mock Joe Biden's lifelong stutter at a rally in Georgia last weekend.
I'm going to bring the country together. I'm going to bring it together.
And we've actually seen this before from Trumps. Yes, multiples of them. Even Laura, the shiny new one.
I feel kind of sad for Joe Biden. And you know that's when it's not going well for him, right? Because I'm supposed to want him to fail at every turn, but every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe.
Now, we can be honest here, right? Between you and me, Joe Biden does stutter a lot.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela?
Oh, my bad. That was the wrong clip.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
Nope, that wasn't it either.
Man,
we're here because he stutters and we wanted to hear you speak.
Oh man, come on! I tell you what, don't let it define you. You are smart as hell. Now you really are. You can do that. Can I get a phone number for you and I can tell you what I used to do and how I would do it? Can you take his phone? Because there's about 25 stutterers I continue to work with, and I can tell you the things that helped me. It took a lot of practice, but I promise you you can do it. I promise you. And don't let it define you. You're handsome, you're smart, you're a good guy. I really mean it. Don't let it define you. And you know when I say I know about bullies, you know about bullies. The kids who make fun.
Ah, there it is. Speaking up and becoming an advocate for something that afflicts 3 million Americans, including Samuel L. Jackson, James Earl Jones, Bill Walton, Bruce Willis, and Emily Blunt, who just killed it last night, by the way. But how do you attack somebody for something they overcame? That's like assaulting somebody and then repeatedly defaming them in the media.
91 million, based on false accusations made about me by a woman that I knew nothing about, didn't know, never heard of. I know nothing about her. She wrote a book, she said things. And when I denied it, I said, it's so crazy, it's false. I got sued for defamation.
By the way, just 3 days after Trump posted a $91.6 million bond in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case, her lawyer is considering filing another defamation lawsuit. Y'all better move some more shoes. But in the meantime, let me see what else he had to say last weekend. I mean, maybe he gave Joe some compliments.
All compliments of an incompetent
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't it.
nation. We have become a nation like nobody thought possible.
You mean become?
Ukraine and Russia wouldn't be fighting. I knew Putin. I know him very well. There was no way he was going in.
You mean Putin? Well, you know what? Unlike some of us, I can look past the occasional flub. It's more about the point that you're making.
Pundits and inside sources say that the attacks on me will be violent. They say that it's violent. The attacks, Biden said it. He said, you know what their whole plan is? It was just released the other day. It was leaked.
And what point was that?
That's why they're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference against Joe Biden's top and only political appointment, a guy named me. It's a guy named me.
Did you just call yourself Biden's political appointment?
They raided my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They raided. with they had no reason to do so.
Do you think they conduct raids with raid? You mean they got SWAT out here in tactical gear to take out roaches? I mean, I knew the rats in DC were bad, but combat roaches? No wonder you had all those boxes at Mar-a-Lago. You gotta barricade the doors. You know what? Maybe he just had a bad night.
So first of all, there is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting, and in terms of also the theft and the bad management of entitlements, tremendous bad management of entitlements. There's tremendous amounts of things and numbers of things you can do. So I don't, necessarily agree with the statement.
What? Now, what kind of audacity does it take to mock a man's stutter in the same speech you sound like a toddler reading my notes? The same audacity it takes to accuse Biden of accepting money from foreign governments when we know that you've accepted money from foreign governments.
Donald Trump pocketed $7.8 million from foreign governments, from China, from Saudi Arabia, from United Arab Emirates, without ever coming to Congress first. It took us 7 years to accumulate all of this information. We've got a 150-page report with 750 footnotes, and they have not laid a glove on our report. They have not found a single thing that they claim to be factually inaccurate.
The same audacity it takes to call Joe Biden creepy, even though you got 26 allegations. Donald Trump has all the cunning of a cheating husband, and no, I don't mean him specifically, who comes home and immediately breaks into his wife's phone. Well, if I'm guilty, then you must be guilty.
And I use his name instead, and I say, our president, Barack Hussein Obama, meaning who's calling the shots. Does everyone sort of understand it? The fake news says, he doesn't know the name of our president. He doesn't know it's Joe Biden. He must be cognitively impaired. I'm not cognitively. And you know what? When I am, you're going to know it. You're going to be the first people. I know my people. You'll say, all right, Trump, you did a good job. Get the hell out of here. That's it. That's it.
Personally, I like my presidents not to have to clarify that they're not cognitively impaired. But you know what, Donald? I'm feeling generous. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. It's all by design. You're in charge. You know what? Here's all the times you've been sarcastic and mocked Joe Biden just in the past few weeks.
Ridden nation, we have become a nation like nobody thought. Use your kitchen, and I'm going to use your bedroom, and there's not a damn thing. And that's the nice ones, okay? That's the nice ones. The most disgraceful part of Joe Biden's service is the divisive and all compliments of an incompetent. He must be cognitively impaired. I'm not cognitively. And, raided my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They raided. With they had no reason to. The attacks on me will be violent. They say that it's violent. The attacks, Biden said it. Against Joe Biden's top and only political appointment, a guy named me. You can't mix names, purposely mix names. Purposely. Ukraine and Russia wouldn't be fighting. I knew Putin, I know him very well. He was no women. Women love me. I protect women. I protect Megyn Kelly. May she rest in peace. Again, yes, oh yes, and quickly, says President Trump. Yes, oh yes, we can. Interesting. I watch these criminals back there, the press. Look at MSDNC. How evil they are. They're evil. They're sick. They shouldn't even be allowed to do what they do because it's so corrupt. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. They talk about suburban housewives. I believe I'm doing well. The polls are all rigged. Of course, lately they have been rigged because I'm winning by so much. I don't want to say it. Disregard that statement. That is no longer admired, respected, or listened to. Will repeat your. Anytime I start talking, they take the red light off. Look, he can't campaign. He can't campaign. He can't speak. So we call it migrant crime. I came up with that name because I come up with a lot of good names. You see Maduro, Venezuela, it's Unbelievable. He was going to the border, doing a show. Sean Hannity, good man, Sean Hannity. We'll demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers. Production in the United States, country, even Argentina, they went MAGA. You know Argentina, great guy. He's a big Trump guy. He loves Trump. I love him because he loves Trump. When he called, I took his call. Anybody that loves me, I like them. Biden border will. Well, you know this, right? The Biden border bill. I'm thrilled to be back in the beautiful Virginia. We went to the last two total. Last Tuesday, Michigan total was a record. Like, ding, boom. This is me. I hear, bing.
Seems a bit excessive, don't you think?